Whew, what is up, peeps? Hope we're all doing well. It's been a heck of a weekend. Finally back here in America, over from Sweden, and the story does continue. That being Hasan versus Dr. Disrespect versus Nickmercs. In case you guys missed our video on this a few days back, it was actually Dr. Disrespect responding to Hasan, calling him a fat phony after some comments made by Hasan where he says that Doc was more loyal to Nickmercs over the controversial statements that have made national news. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Hasan said Doc was more loyal to Nickmercs than he was to his own wife, referencing the whole cheating situation which happened years and years ago.
Yes, he is more loyal to Nickmercs having his skin than his own wife. I know. Yes, he's more loyal to that. I mean, he's also more loyal to Shungite, really. Bro, up to Shungite. You know what I mean? Just add a little bit more Shungite to that diet. Put it around La Casa. Okay, little pyramids, that sort of thing. I feel like we don't have enough Shungite in La Casa right now.
And in response to that, and I feel like the community is somehow so split between these two, but in response, as Doc was of course going to respond to these kind of comments, he calls Hasan a fat phony and also says he would never say these kind of things in person because there would obviously be repercussions.
That's the issue I think we have as a society. Everyone's so concerned and worried about everything else. Just worry about yourself and what's close to you. Right? Everyone is so concerned about everyone else and everything else. Why? Just focus on you and what matters to you and what's close to you. Trust me, that will instill confidence because you don't have all this fog and all this concern, right? Because that just brings negative energy, man. It really is. Like who's this fat phony? Hasan? Hasan?
Let's get it, baby.
This fat phony. He's so concerned about everything. He's concerned about the two-time and what it's like. These people, man. This guy wouldn't. Anyways, you just don't worry about anything, right?
I think it may be a little one of those right there.
Except yourself and what's close to you and what matters to you, right? By the way, that guy's. You talk about a phony. Holy shit. A fat phony. See, he wouldn't. See, that's the thing too. Like, he wouldn't say these type of things if we're standing next to each other. You know, he wouldn't.
I think we're clear.
Because he knows there's repercussions. Right.
And just to give you guys my feedback on this, it's been wild to watch as a ton of people hate Hasan. I know you guys probably know that, especially with the Aiden Ross versus Hasan beef. A ton of people hate Hasan, but also in this case, a ton of people hating on Doc. I feel like if you read through the comments, everyone is just split on which side they want to stand on here between these two figures. And it's just, for me personally, it felt a bit out of nowhere for Hasan to make that comment. It didn't really have any relevance at least for me, for the situation where Doc made that stand for Nickmercs on the whole Call of Duty situation. I don't know why bringing his wife in that situation, which they have resolved to move on from, like what relevance that has to the Nickmercs situation. That's just my opinion. It's not something I would have said or done, but Hasan did do it, and a lot of people backing him up on that and are saying like, well, did he lie? Is what he said not true? For me personally, it was a bit far to bring in that situation. For some other people, it wasn't. What do you guys think? Despite all that, Nickmercs, I'm sure why you guys are watching this, has responded to the situation and now says because of the comments that Hasan made about Doc and his wife, because of the situation, Hasan is now dead to him.
The popular thing to say was anti-gay. When they see that, I mean, yeah, you guys got friends, you got homies. That's fucked up if it isn't true. That's fucked up.
Yo, Nick, today is my 5-year sub.
That's fucked
what
up.
What a frickin' coincidence. Let's get it, Papa 5 for years.
Think what you want to think.
By the way, make
fucked
sure
up.
that 6-year gold chain ready for your boy in 1 year.
El Hasan. Yeah, I don't know what that was about, man. I think that I mean, some of these creators, man, some of these people in the space, they get their clicks and stuff by talking about this stuff all the time. I mean, this isn't every. I mean, I tried not to do this, but yeah, here we are. But I mean, people like Hasan and even the Jakes of the world and those people, they get that. This is how they do it, Chad. This is their game. This is the game they play. And I think up until that week, Hasan and I were pretty cool. And I know he's not going to lose any sleep over our relationship or anything, man. I'm not either. But after hearing him say what he said about Doc, that motherfucker's dead to me. I DM'd him as soon as I heard it, and I said, you know what? Have your opinions. We can agree to disagree. You can say the things that you want to say, of course. But you're going to go up there and say that shit about Doc on his fucking his anniversary, right? It's a guy's anniversary. And you're saying shit like that in front of all those people? You're just going to let that rip? All right. I mean, fuck. Listen, I'm not... I'm not fucking showing up at Halloween costumes with my caterpillar Ethiopian stash or anything. You know what I mean? I'm not up on a pedestal in the Champions fucking club, right? But he's a homie. And even if he wasn't, why would you ever fucking say that? You could say a million other things, but why the fuck would you say that? I don't understand. I mean, have a like an ounce of decency. I don't know. That was crazy. I unfollowed him on everything. I DM'd that fucking guy, told him you're a prick for that, and that's that. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm sure he doesn't give a fuck about that. And you know what? I don't really care too much either. But I just wanted y'all to know that I saw that. I think it's crazy. And shout out to Doc for keeping it a buck, man. And I feel bad that he, I feel like I said.
And he does mention the Hassans and the Jakes of the world. I'm going to imagine that that's probably towards me, which we'll get to that in a second. More importantly, pretty crazy things to say. He also goes on to speak about other friends who had his back. Of course, Tim the Tatman, Dr. Disrespect. We have Cloaksy, other names mentioned about people who spoke up for him. Nick also goes on to say that plenty of people came behind the scenes and said that they couldn't stick up for him publicly, but, did believe him on his side of things. They couldn't say it, but they privately, they could. And it's just a crazy situation that continues. We'll have follow-ups on this tomorrow because the main part of Nick's response, I wanted to get this Hasan stuff out there to continue the other story we've already covered. But let's just snap back really quick. Plenty of Nick fans were upset with me for covering this story, so we can just get this straight right away. I covered this story about as down the middle as you possibly could. I didn't take a side. I didn't take the side against Nick, and I didn't take the side for Nick, and for some reason, I got hate from both sides for doing that, which, by the way, was my main point of the entire situation. I hated doing this. Like, it's the worst possible situation where the extremes from both sides are things that I disagree with. I disagree with the extremes of the side against Nick, and I disagree with the extremes on the side for Nick. All the people that were calling Nick a bigot and a homophobe. I never said that, and I never agreed with it. But all the people calling Call of Duty, the pedophile protectors and the Call of Groomers, I also didn't agree with that. I played it right down the middle, which Nick himself said it's okay to disagree with him. It's okay to have those discussions, which is literally what I did. Now, I understand some of those headlines can be frustrating, and that's the stuff that does go viral. But if you listen to the actual stuff I said, I didn't say anything bad about Nick. Nothing personal, certainly, about Nick. And I just tried to understand the situation from both sides. That is all I did. And it's a very, very difficult situation when you involve politics and such divisive sides. Trust me, it's not fun. All right, when I sit back and we have to cover this story again and again and again, day after day, you guys might be thinking, oh, you're just milking it. But guys, this is my job. I have nothing else. I don't sit back here and have fun doing it, but I'm still going to do it. It's not the best part of the job, and oftentimes these stories are the ones that do suck. They're also the ones that get views, as sad as that is. But it's not, just because it sucks, it's not going to stop me from doing my job. And that's having the discussion around these things. That's opening the floor to both sides of this argument. Okay? And it certainly was an argument. At the very least, a debate. Some might say a huge controversy for Nickmercs. So I understand his takes. But don't get it twisted. I never said anything bad about the guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. And I don't think he meant for those words to be taken the way they were, but it's not going to stop me from at least opening my eyes to realize the other side of the conversation. And of course, the plenty of people that were offended and did take it that way. I still took the middle road. And at the end of the day, despite all of these arguments, I hated both sides because both were so extreme and it felt like you couldn't even have that discussion. And that's where I stand. So Yeah. Regardless, the more important part of this video is Hasan and Nickmercs clearly no longer friends. We'll have follow-ups on this, of course, all week long as we catch back up on all the other videos we do cover outside of this. Thanks for watching, subbing. I appreciate you guys. Drink up, okay? I'll catch you back here sometime soon. Take care.